What's up guys, it's Tyranitar2 and in today's episode of Doing Random Crap, we're gonna look at Pokemon ability ideas. They can be in Sinnoh remakes, they can be somewhere, but I always like seeing other people's ideas, and not many people actually share realistic ideas. When I look for people's ideas on Pokemon, they just throw some random crap together and want it to happen. But courtesy of Procelion, I found someone who actually put together a bunch of fun abilities, so we're gonna look through them. I'm gonna call out some crappy ones and we'll expand our ideas of Pokemon abilities. This is the most exciting thing ever when a Pokemon's ability changes. When Altaria gets Pixelate, when a Mega evolves, I really hope ability changing has a huge role. Pokemon get their abilities retyped, new abilities get introduced, and older Pokemon get them. And you know, it's wishful thinking to ask for Megas, and this may be the 7th time I've said it. Wait for my 8th time. So here you go. The first one is called Acclimatize, which means to adapt, and it's the Pokemon's form and type change based on its location. I'm not a big fan of this ability. This is in the territory of like nature power, secret power. If you use it in a building, it turns into Swift. In the sand, Earthquake. In a cave, Shadow Ball. So it would pretty much be this, but your Pokemon is sent out in this typing. So let's imagine some sort of chameleon Pokemon. You find an encounter in the grass and send it out, and it comes out a grass type. You find it while surfing, it comes out a water type. You're fighting a trainer in a building, it comes out a normal type. It's just too much changing going on that I'm not a fan of it. The next ability is Bad Luck. Decreases the foe's accuracy when sent into battle. If that ain't so overpowered, dude. Intimidate is already overpowered. If your Pokemon has Intimidate, even if it's Arcanine, it's like if Arcanine's defense stat is like a tank, because anyone who tries to punch Arcanine gets intimidated, and it's so annoying. Accuracy is the other thing that's so annoying. Let's just pretend this is Darkrai's hidden ability, right? So I send out Darkrai and the opponent just starts missing everything. There's no doubt an ability like this cannot be a normal ability. It can only go to a legendary. Decreasing the foe's accuracy, that's godly. The third ability, Bio. When the Pokemon uses a biting move, it has a chance of poisoning the target. That's really good. I like it. It's in the nature of Tough Claws, boost contact moves by 30%, Tyrantrum and Strong Jaw boosting those Fang moves. It reminds me of the ability Stench, where when you attack the opponent, they have a 10% chance to flinch because you smell so bad. So stupid. But I like it. But in thinking in terms of percentages, the chance of poisoning the target would probably be like 10%. No, actually, it would be higher, because flinching is overpowered. That's why they made it 10%. This might be like 20-30% chance to poison the opponent. I dig it. But I actually don't like it that much, because there's abilities like Poison Touch out there and Poison Point, and they just normally poison the opponent. It's just normal, not stacking damage, poison. An ability like this, I want, because it's only biting moves, and biting moves are very weak, it should be badly poisoning the opponent. Then I would run it. Alright, Cold Heart. The user can move even while frozen. That is sick. Oh, that is a legendary ability. That is a legendary ability. That needs to go to an ice type legendary that its signature move freezes itself. But this is its ability. And because its signature move freezes itself, the strategy is that this legendary can't get paralyzed or put to sleep or anything. It's like fighting encased in ice. I'm thinking of some sort of Odin, half-dead necromancer. Cold Heart with the ability. I know it's ice looking, but oh, this has to go to a nice ice legendary. Give me, you know, those Japanese stories of like the long woman who like Fossilize is based off of, goes and hunts people. I want there to be an ice ghosty legendary with a Cold Heart. I like this ability. Being able to move while frozen. God, I wish they did so much more with being frozen. That's like untapped potential there, Pokemon. Do some stuff with frozen. You know, Pokemon, make an ability. Make a Pokemon that when it gets a status condition, it adapts into something else. So imagine a cast form like Pokemon. If you burn it, it takes on this flame form. If you freeze it, it takes on this icicle form. If you make it go to sleep, it takes on this like spirit form, so it can attack you while sleeping. That'd be cool. Running it in the metagame, you could give it a Toxic Orb or a Flame Orb as the only ways to control it yourself. But the ones that would be hard to pull off, like being frozen, should have like an overpowered form. God, I have so much fun with these abilities, man. I don't know where to find people who just have fun with discussion. Everyone's just talking about like Sword and Shield's tree. No one's actually talking fun about Pokemon. I enjoy this. Condition switch. The user's appearance and type change with stat. I swear to God, I did not read that. Holy freak. Oh my God. The user's appearance. Oh my God, that's so good. Alright. That's crazy. Enough said. Dreamcatcher. Good dreams restore the user's health while asleep. Alright, Snorlax, we got a new hidden ability for Snorlax. It's not that good, man. If I'm using rest, I'm already at full health. I guess I'm recovering health while the opponent's damaging me and I'm waiting to wake up. Maybe something better would be having such good dreams that your like defense goes up. Or your attack goes up so that when you wake up with excitement. So I dig a lot of these abilities. Alright, Elite Mode. Reaching half health causes the Pokemon to transform and boost its highest stat. Okay, that's a combination of a few abilities. It instantly reminds me of Perfect Zygarde's ability, where when you get into yellow health, Zygarde transforms into its complete form, boosting its highest stats. So it's Zygarde's ability combined with Beast Boost. That is a really good ability and actually something possible, because the abilities that you probably forget about, Overgrow, Blaze, they actually have this. When you're at like 33% of your health, Venusaur's ability, Overgrow, increases grass damage by like 30%, and Charizard's Blaze increases fire moves by like 30% when he's in red. So this is just a better version of those abilities. Flashlight automatically brightens caves, clears fogs both in and out of battle. Alright, that's good, that's good. An in-game and overworld effect for this, like Stench. Stench, if you have it in the front of your team, you smell so bad the wild Pokemon don't come near you. You avoid wild battles. Automatically brightens caves, clears fog both in and out of battle. Alright, it was good the first time I read it, but there's no fog in battle. Maybe, no, what? I was gonna say maybe it's like using defog when the opponent is sent in, which clears all the entry hazards. But a flashlight is not gonna do that. What about since you have a flashlight, it increases your accuracy when you get sent in. So now whoever gets this ability can use moves that are risky, like Blizzard with better accuracy. Fiery Surge. When the user enters the battle, it summons fiery terrain. That sounds sick. We have an electric terrain, a fairy terrain, psychic, and grass. Why don't we have a fiery terrain and water terrain is where it's at, but I guess we don't because that's the drought and the rain. So they're not gonna double up on it being the exact same. Though it just feels so cool, and a fiery ember and a water terrain almost being submerged underwater. So for example, fire Pokemon would lose health every turn. It would activate abilities like Swift Swim and Rain Dish. Maybe I can imagine you can Rain Dish. If you're submerged, you're getting a lot of water, you can Rain Dish that, and you can Swift Swim, especially if you're underwater versus the rain. I guess you could do that. You could introduce Fiery Surge and Aqua Surge and just have it so their effects overlap with the weather, but you don't want to make it too confusing. Even I don't properly know the terrains yet. I don't care enough to know what Psychic Terrain does. I know it stops priority moves. I know Misty Terrain stops status ailments. I know Electric Terrain wakes up Pokemon if they're sleeping, and Grassy Terrain heals everyone. But the terrains just came out of nowhere that confuse people. You gotta make sure you do it a better way if you make more. Fossilize turns all normal type moves into rock types. Yeah, this is a good one. It's not really much to say here. Heavy Eyes. The user has a chance of falling asleep during their turn. Dude, what have you done? What? The user has a chance of falling asleep? Every turn there's a chance. Bro, I already hate pair hacks. Because when I'm paralyzed, I don't even know what pair hacks is chance is. Is it 50%? I'm gonna figure this out right now. Okay. A paralyzed Pokemon has a 25% chance of losing its turn. That are not the odds. When I'm paralyzed, it is like 75%. Don't make this my Pokemon's entire existence that fear of losing my turn because of Heavy Eyes. Falling asleep? You can fall asleep from 1 turn to 3 turns at a time. Oh my god. You know though, I dig this ability because they're gonna do stuff like this. They'll introduce an overpowered Pokemon and then give it a nerfing ability. Slacking with Truant, Archeops with Defeatist. I dig the idea of there being another overpowered Pokemon, and this is the downfall. This is a lot better than Truant, I'll tell you that. Truant just isn't fun to use. Imagine being a kid and evolving your Vigoroth into that, and it just sucks now. I don't know what kind of future sight I had, but I never evolved my Vigoroth. I don't know who told me what slacking was. It's like a baby animal knowing how to walk once it's born. I knew when I was born never to evolve Vigoroth. Inner Flame. Ooh. A flame sack heats the Pokemon up in battle, giving the user the fire type. That is sick. Oh shoot, that is sick. Abilities that create 3 typing Pokemon. Oh god, that 3 typing Pokemon already exist. Trick or Treat doesn't overwrite typings, so if Trevenant uses Trick or Treat on like a Skarmory, it's now Steel Flying Ghost. Use it on T-Tar, it's Dark Rock Ghost. This is gonna complicate so much if we introduce 3 typing Pokemon, but I kinda dig it. If it's just only for 1 or 2 Pokemon. The closest thing to this we have right now is Steel Worker, which Dhelmise gets, and it pretty much gives it stab for steel moves. So Dhelmise sort of has a 3rd typing as Grass, Ghost, Steel, but it doesn't have the resistances of Steel, so it's not really a typing. Jackpot. If the user takes part in battle, prize money is doubled. I'll take it. I'll take it. Let's get a lucky Gen 9 Meowth that just does this. Limit Break. When the user is at half HP, they awaken their power and change form. Sir, you've written this before. Oh no, they wrote the one where your stats go up. This is exactly Zygarde, Limit Break. Freaking Ultra Instinct. I think a lot more Pokemon deserve something like this. Imagine Gen 9 comes out and Shuckle gets this ability and suddenly comes out of its shell. And it's this big macho man. Lovesick. This is gonna be a good one. The opponent becomes infatuated if the user has a status ailment? Wait. The opponent becomes infatuated if I have a status ailment. That's not what Lovesick is. No. What? If I'm sick, I make the opponent love me? Dude, that is not what Lovesick is. I'm sick because I'm in love. That's what Lovesick is. The opponent falls in love with you if you have a status condition. So if I'm burnt and fire punch the opponent, they fall in love with me. This makes no sense. Lovesick. It should be Sweet Burn. Cocky Man. I don't know. Lovesick. The opponent becomes infatuated if the user has a status ailment. What? So I'm snoring, I'm sleeping, and I use snore, and the opponent's in love with me now. This ability sucks. I guess the best you could do is give it to a special attacker, and then they equip a burn orb, and you just make everyone fall in love with you. Metallic turns all normal type moves into steel type. Yeah, I'll take that. Ooh, that's for a steel type evolution. Steel and Dragon have to be the next evolutions to come. A steel type Eevee with Metallic? That'll be fun. A nice bulky evolution. We deserve one. Show us a steel rock. Like the Mossy rock and the Glacy rock in Sinnoh. Show us a secret steel rock that was somewhere. And let's get a new evolution. Miracle Horn. The user is protected from all status ailments. Wow, that's freaking sick. That's a sick ability. If a fairy type got this ability, that'd be really good. An alternate version to this that exists is Magic Guard, and if you have Magic Guard, you don't take toxic damage or burn damage or weather damage or entry hazard damage, if I remember correctly. But paralysis still decreases your speed, but you can't get full parahaxed. This is the closest thing to that. It is realistic because if you remember, this is exactly what Fairy Terrain, Misty Terrain does. It stops status conditions from happening. Alright, Mossy. Plant life on the Pokemon's body becomes active in battle, adding the grass type to the host. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. They really want to introduce 3 typing Pokemon. I'm not against it. I'm not against it because they're loop holding it through the ability to introduce a 3rd typing. I'm all for it if like only 2 to 3 Pokemon in the entire decks get it, so it doesn't overcomplicate it, and you just know to look out for those specific Pokemon. Like Mossy and Inner Flare. Maybe the pseudo-legendary evolves into split Pokemon. I don't know, Dragon Steel with the inner fire ability, and then Dragon Steel with the inner grass ability. Something like that. Here we go, Night Cloak. The user's evasiveness is boosted in dark places or at night. Alright. I'm not a fan of these condition abilities. It would definitely be cool. Imagine you have a Toxicroak and it has a Night Cloak, and you go into a cave during your story and suddenly all the Pokemon in the cave are missing you. Yeah, it's fun. Or you play at nighttime just for that effect. They're using the same mechanic as a Dusk Ball, so if you're playing at night or in a cave, the Dusk Ball will give you a higher chance of capturing the Pokemon, but I'm not a fan of it. Night Vision. The user's accuracy is boosted in dark places or at night. Well, so this would go to like a split evolution Pokemon. One hides in the darkness well, Night Cloak. One sees in the darkness well, Night Vision. Or it's like the Durant Heatmore situation where it's like a predator and prey. Panic Attack. Oh jeez. When struck by a critical move, the user's speed maxes out. Oh, he trips out. He goes crazy. That's good. That's good. So it's a combination of the ability Anger Point, which Tauros gets. If you crit Tauros, its attack goes +6. ×4, in other words. And it beats you up. And it's also a combination of Steam Engine that Colossal gets. If it gets hit with a water or fire move, its speed maxes out. +6 or ×4. So that's cool. Panic Attack. Taurus's Anger Point is really a luck factor ability. You don't get a chance to use it a lot properly. But, you know, you could figure out something with Panic Attack. Power Out. If the user runs out of PP on one of its moves, the user's speed is halved. Yo, why? Why would you do that to him? He's already out of PP. You half his speed. Wow. That's ridiculous. Why would you do that? That makes absolutely no sense. Wow. What a ridiculous ability. Shower Cap. What's happening? What is this name? Shower Cap? The user's team is immune to the effects of rain. The whole team? That's a weird one. There's never been a Pokemon's ability that affects their whole team in the back. The closest thing is Illusion, which picks a Pokemon in your team. I guess until he dies. If he dies and it doesn't protect you anymore. Protects the entire team from the effects of rain. Okay, I guess that means your fire moves don't get cut in half. That's the only thing it means. I don't know. What's the point of this ability? Rain has no effects. Imagine having a Pokemon with Shower Cap and a Pokemon with Rain Dish in the back. And his Rain Dish is useless because you put the Shower Cap over his Rain Dish. Like Ludicolo wearing a Shower Cap. Slime Coat. Ooh, Goodra alternate ability. The Pokemon covers itself in a sticky slime in battle, adding the water type to itself. Wow, that's really cool. You know, I really see it. So we have a water one, a grass one, and a fire one. I see some sort of split evolution thing happening where these three Pokemon who have the same type get this third secret typing through their ability. Speaker System. Doubles the power of the user's sound-based move. Wow, that is cheap. That is insane. So Exploud gets Boom Burst. Sound is starting to become a thing more and more in Pokemon. So yeah, there's sound moves. To start off, sound moves go through substitutes. So if you Boom Burst someone behind a sub, it doesn't hurt the sub. It just goes straight for their health. And 2, there's items like Throat Spray, which increases your special attack after you use a sound move. There's abilities like Soundproof, which makes you immune to sound moves. And now Speaker System. This is exactly what I guess like a regional variant for Exploud would get. His Boom Burst doesn't do 140 now. Now it does 280. And would stab like 420. Wow, nah. No. 420. Survivor. The user's defense and special defense increase each turn? Are you kidding me? No, it doesn't. No. That ability is cheap. That ability is way too cheap. No, that can't be. It needs to be while the user is at half health or lower. Your defense and special defense increase each turn, because that's too overpowered. It relates to abilities like Speed Boost, but if I just send out a Pokemon with Survivor and Protect on the first turn, I have 50% more defense and special defense right away. That needs to be for some kind of Steel Legendary Pokemon, because that ability is too far. Time Flux. The Pokemon bends the rules of time and space, making sure the user moves first. That's a coincidence. This is one of my reject abilities for Mega Dialga or Primal Dialga. Because Dialga can mess with time, he can choose when he wants to go. The Pokemon bends the rules of time and space, making sure the user moves first. So as I said in the If Dialga Can Mega Evolve video, there are 2 abilities something like this is like, which is Gale Wings, where flying moves go first, and Prankster, where status moves go first. Time Link. The user gains a boost on all stats when it's in battle with a Pokemon of the same type. You cannot do that. You cannot give an alternate Crozma boost for being the same type as the opponent. No. And it's coded to be a dragon type ability. That's too far. That's too overpowered an ability. I don't even get what you mean. Watery Surge. Oh, when the user joins the battle, the field is flooded with the water terrain. I do think underwater field is needed. If you can, make an underwater... it's not going to be a terrain, but you know how we had sky battles in X and Y? Make a sky sort of field and an underwater field. I don't know what you could do with the sky field. Maybe Pokemon that are touching the ground have lower accuracy. and for underwater field fire types lose health, you know? Man, if that wasn't fun. I had so much fun with that. Alright guys, shank that like button, create some more abilities in the comments. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.
This the sound of my alchemy, the greatest success for all those who fell for me. I always respect the friends who wish well for me and live until the end and die. All time will tell for me, but I ain't going anywhere, believe me.